He's here. I didn't see him, but I know. Michael, we thank you for coming down to Victoria and for being here with us in Victoria to join us for our Veterans Day Parade. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome United States Congressman Mr. Michael Cloud right here.
Thank you, Brother Gary. It is good to be home. I can assure you that. Thank you so much for coming out today to support those who've served in uniform. Today's a very important day for us in our community, and I can tell you I'm proud to be part of a community that loves our veterans so much, that loves this country so much. Today we gather to honor the service and sacrifice of the great men and women who've served our nation in uniform. Today, of course, is the 100th such Veterans Day, which originally was called Armistice Day. It was held in ceremony of the first anniversary of World War I. And so it's important that we understand that since then, the Army, the Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, those all who've served, what they've done to save this world time and time again from the forces of darkness cannot be underestimated. And sometimes I think it's difficult for maybe young people who've had the blessing of growing up in the liberties and the freedoms and the peace and prosperity that we've inherited from those who've served before us to sometimes kind of understand that. But it's important that we take time on days like this to remind them, to tell the stories. Yesterday, my boys and I were walking through the World War II Museum in Fredericksburg for those very reasons. It's important that we pass down this heritage to those who are coming after us. Ronald Reagan reminded us that freedom, liberty, they don't automatically pass in the bloodstream. They have to be fought for. They have to be protected. They have to be handed on for others, the next generation, to do the same. And so this day is important. Ceremony is important. Honoring our veterans and the service that they have given our country is extremely important. But I'm reminded of the words of John F. Kennedy, who said, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. And so, as we honor their service, I hope it inspires ours. I hope that we think about what we can do to ensure in the way we live, in the way we interact with our families, in the way that we work together as a community, that we can honor the principles that they fought and have bled for. It should adjust how we live. Do we take time to invest in our kids? Do we participate in community and church and loving our neighbor and doing all the wonderful things that truly makes our nation what it should be? Because after all, we're not a nation defined by our government. We're a nation of the people, by the people, for the people. And what really sets us apart from anything is not this understanding of the greatness of a government, but it's an understanding of where our rights come. That they don't come from a government. They're not bestowed upon us by a government, but they come from God. And we put government in there to protect it. And thank you to the men and women who've served, who've protected those liberties and given us the opportunity to live in the freedoms that we share. You know, we just sang the Star Spangled Banner. And I'm always impressed by the fact that our national anthem is different than many others in the world. Most end with some boisterous claim of how wonderful or great their country is. Ours ends with a question. It says, "Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave?" And when we really break it down, I think there's really two questions there. Does it still wave is the first one. Thankfully, because of the brave service of the men and women who served in uniform, yes, it still does wave. But there's a second question that's in that one question, and that is it over the free and the brave? And I think when Francis Scott Key sat and penned that poem, looking and peering in through the darkness for the flag, that he joined those two concepts together, freedom and bravery. We cannot have freedom without bravery. And so today we come to say thank you. Thank you to the men and women who served. But we're also challenged in their service to remember that it's our job as well, not in uniform and out of uniform, to participate in the process, to be that nation of the people, by the people, for the people, to carry that bravery and to ensure that every generation is able to answer that question. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave in the affirmative? And so this spirit of sacrifice is really what's brought us to this point in history, whether it was the Revolutionary War, whether it was from then on in every single battle fought, the whole ethic of sacrifice that leads to freedom. And so some have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Some have been willing to make that ultimate sacrifice and have worn the uniform and gone into battle. Some continue to serve on the front lines of peace and prosperity and freedom. But all of us have something to do. We all can give of ourselves to make this nation what it needs to be. And so thank you, veterans, for inspiring us. I do hope and pray today that you'll accept our gratitude. Nothing we can do could ever be enough. But we do say thank you, and we appreciate you, and we love you, and we honor you, and most importantly, we're challenged by your service today. And so thank you so much. God bless you. And God bless our great nation.